Hello, this is Angelia with today's wisdom. Today's wisdom comes from Daily Ohm, expanding their vision. 9 ways to help others awaken to consciousness. Number 1, living by your values allows you to become a positive source of inspiration for others. So if you listen to my Bible readings, we talked about, walking your walk. So if you say you have a set of values, then other people expect you to live by those. So when you have the values and you live by the values, then other people can look up to you and say, oh, well, this person really did this, and I'm going to look to them for some inspiration. Don't hide. Express yourself and embrace life without reservation. And I did that for a long time because I got a lot of negative messages about myself. And so I hid behind a wall, keep myself safe, keep the bad people out, because I don't like getting hurt. Nobody does. So it took me a while to learn to express myself and to embrace life, without holding back, and I've learned, you do have to have tact sometimes, and you do have to be polite to others, but you don't always have to diminish yourself in order to do that. By simply being yourself, you can help the people in your life see how one person can make a difference by being a living example of consciousness. And if we all did that, the world would be a much better place. Because if the young people in our lives looked up to us for being, a good, wise, loving, decent person, just imagine what a better place the world would be, because then that's what they would want to become too, instead of what we got going on now, where it's okay to be bad and ignorant and hateful and indecent, and then children learn what they live, so they're learning this, and this is how they're turning out, and there goes the degradation of society. I think one sociologist said the height of man was in the 1970s, and now we're going down. Again, we're de-evolving, so that's a shame. When you communicate your views, do so casually and in a non-dogmatic manner. And you can do that. There are people who have a hard time expressing their views because at any little challenge, at any little, someone believes something different, they get all up in arms and upset and, start the finger pointing, shaking, and then, like I said, you don't do any good. You lose your point. You're not making your point, because when you come at people like that, they're turning you out. Just no, I ain't dealing with that. So if you can just matter of factly say stuff, they're gonna listen to you better than if you're, being one of them meanies. Allow the people you speak with to ask questions. And that's something. There was someone who supposedly was a teacher of wisdom who I came across, and that was one of their things. You weren't allowed to challenge them. You weren't allowed to ask questions. You just had to listen and believe like they believed, or you weren't good enough. And I'm like, something's wrong here. Offer only as much information as they're ready to hear. And sometimes we start talking to a person, we can see they're overwhelmed, or they are busy, don't care, got something else going on, and then stop, back off, start it up again the next time you talk to them, and you might not ever see them again, but at least you can try. Igniting the spark of consciousness can be as easy as giving someone a gift. And like I said, a few weeks ago, a friend of mine just sent me a gift, and it made me feel really good that she thought of me and did that for me. But sometimes we don't think of people as much as we should. And we all get busy. We all get busy with our daily life. But when you realize there's something going on, take the time out and make an effort. A favorite book, a medicine bag, or a beautiful gemstone can pique your loved one's curiosity and prompt them to begin an exploration of their soul. Because there's some people who never even think about their soul. They go through life and they just thinking about their body. All the body needs, What am I going to do now? I'm bored. What am I going to eat now? I'm hungry. What am I going to get with tonight? Because, yeah, I want that. But, some people never even think about the fact that they have a soul and where's it going to go when they die, So it's a good thing to get people to think about if you can. Teaching a friend, relative, or colleague to meditate or chant can put them on the path to consciousness while simultaneously reducing their stress levels. Because when you meditate, it does reduce your stress level. You're concentrating on nothing. And that's the important thing. And you tell them whenever something comes in your mind, just push it out. Because it's going to happen, and just calmly push it out. Excuse me. In some of my yoga, I do some chanting, the Om and everything. And that can center you and help you to relax. So, whenever people can take a little time out, even if it's just 10 minutes a day, to work on something that brings them inner peace, that can help everybody. Oh, I'm going to sneeze again. Oh, dear. And it turned to a yawn. Others may want to know more about living consciously, but are unsure of how to begin. Because that's not something that's taught. That's not something that people nowadays, in other countries it is, in Asia it's a common thing. But over here, we're not really taught how to think and how to think about our spiritual life. That's something that's foreign to a lot of people here in America. So, if you can get people thinking about that, that is only going to make things better for them and everybody as a result. Starting a discussion group, even a virtual one, can help you reach out to individuals that are eager to learn. And I used to have one on Facebook, and I quit doing it because there were, trolls that were saying nasty stuff and other people were getting upset, and, it just wasn't worth it because there was more negative going on than positive. These people weren't learning, they were getting abused by, trolls. So I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna set people up for this. If that's what's gonna happen here on the internet, I'm just not gonna do it. And I taught at a spiritual center a little bit, and there were some people who listen and learn. There were some people who act like fools, but we won't even go there. But there are people out there who want other people to become enlightened, conscious people, to make conscious decisions and not just go through life impulsive, willy-nilly, and just doing whatever the next wind that blows you. By recognizing and acknowledging the inherent value in everyone you encounter, you can teach them how to value others. And everyone has value. Now, in some people, it's harder to find than in others. And arguably, there could be some people who their only value is they, are a consumer and they put money into the world. That's their only value. But most people, are decent people, and there's value in them. So even if you don't agree with someone 24/7, don't discount people, and if you hear things about other people, just remember that everything you hear isn't necessarily true. That's something from another person's point of view or opinion, and so they don't know everything, and then they pass that to you, and you skew it a little more, and the next person. So like I tell people, go to the source. If you hear a rumor and it's bothering you, like people say, well, so and so say, but I said, well, go ask them. Go ask them. Oh, I wouldn't want to do that. They might get offended. I'm like, well, you're talking about them behind their back. They're probably more offended by that than you would if you walked up to them and said, hey, I heard, And then they'll be like, oh, no, that's not true. Or, well, maybe it is true. And, then go from there. Sometimes the easiest way to encourage people, even challenging ones, to respect others is to respect them first. And there are some people who are definitely challenging. And like I say, once you know a person has a problem in their certain way, you can kind of take a step back and say, oh, I'm seeing this now. So I'm not going to engage in that. I'm not going to get into it because clearly this is their drama. And they're not going to listen to what I'm saying anyway because they're feeding on this drama and it does no good. And by doing that, you're actually respecting them because you're not allowing them to sabotage themselves, Invite people from your personal and professional lives to join you in attending a ceremony or ritual. And, I always invite people from my family and friends to, do stuff with us when we have, room for things to do. We had hand fasting, we invited people. We did not invite people to the wedding except for our kids because we eloped. But, I've had a birthday party or two where I had a big enough room where we could invite people, but most of the time I don't. I'm in this little tiny house. But, you can invite people to go out with you and to do things. And, you can have a ceremony for just about anything. I know some people who, every little season change or, moon phase, they have a ceremony. And, it's nice when they invite you. I don't necessarily always want to go do those things because, I kind of have things I like to do and, I might not necessarily believe the way they believe. So, but, include the people you care about. And that shows them that you care about them. The experience may touch them in a profound way or introduce them to a new spiritual path. Because, like I said, if they're not thinking about what's going on in their spirit, that might be something new to them. Oh, well, no, I never thought about that. Or, I've never tried to draw closer to God. Casually point out the interconnectedness of all living beings using concrete, everyday examples. There is a connection between all living beings. If we lose all the bugs, what happens to the earth? Nothing gets pollinated, so there are no crops. The ground under us becomes a hard desert because there are no worms to till the soil, and ants to clean up the floor. Everything rotten is going to stay there. No flies or anything to help clean up dead stuff. So everything rotten is going to stay there. So that's what happens if we just lose the bugs. That's not counting the birds, who some people say they serve no purpose really well. They also are pollinators. And, they have a right to be alive too. So every time you take a creature out of the web of life, there's a hole there that creates some problems for everybody else. So, there are people who don't believe that, but, if they studied rudimentary science, they would quickly see that. So, many people are unaware of how their actions affect the world and are intrigued when they learn of the power that they hold. Now, some people are, but other people, they don't believe that, humans are impacting the world at all. It's just the world doing its thing, and whatever. Whatever. But, if you make an effort, then maybe you can just get them to start thinking, and even that is something. Introduce your loved ones to conscious living in a lighthearted and enjoyable way, and I'm all about that because, to me, if you can be lighthearted with me and make something funny, I'm going to enjoy it more than if you're being mean and negative and preaching and blah, blah, blah. Because I know people like that who teach like that or who, had seminars like that. And I'm just sitting there like, you're making me not like you. And if I don't like you, why do I want to listen to what you have to say? So, As the saying goes, you draw more flies with honey than with vinegar. Serve delicious organic recipes at gatherings, volunteer as a group, and show them how wonderful it can feel to be truly aware and connected to the universe. Because we are. We all are, you know, and, you know, to deny that is basically ignorance, you know. So, excuse me. So, when you come across people who are kind of closed-minded, and you like to expand their vision a little bit, those are just some ways to help them become aware of their consciousness. They may have never thought about it, and their soul, and maybe how to start to even, you know, reach out to a higher power. Think about it. Please like and share, and so we can spread this wisdom around the world. And if you want to help me out, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want to help me out even more, go to my Patreon page and become a patron. That's all for now. Until next time.